at this time, we're going to introduce Bryan Fetzer. But Bryan, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate you. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. We, like I said, we really have enjoyed just getting to know you and hearing more about your life, what you've done. So how long you been married? What's your wife's name? And any kids? That's the most important part.
No kids.
Okay.
Christina,
Awesome.
she's an absolute. She goes by Tia, but absolutely has changed my life tremendously. And I got married very late.
Yeah.
I got married very late. I'm in my mid 50s.
Okay.
And I didn't get married until I was in my late 40s. So it's a very different kind of situation. But she came into my life at the right time and has really helped me see what I need to do to become better.
Yeah.
And she's awesome. She's a businesswoman and she dresses me. 23
years, Division I coach, track coach.
Was at some great universities.
Okay.
Very, between Berkeley and Mississippi State and Gardner-Webb and Ranger and Ball State.
That's awesome.
It gave me an opportunity to really see the country.
Yeah.
I crisscrossed the country. I lived in 7 different states coaching.
Yeah. And you've seen all kinds of things, I'm sure, with athletes. You've seen, young people come into that league, that division, which it's a different beast, I'm sure.
It is.
Division I athletics, I'm sure, like football especially. They say the jump that happens from high school to college is pretty incredible.
Every level you go up from high school to college, then from any kind of college to Division I, and then the big jump is pros because, everybody is the best.
Yeah.
And so, so it keeps that level, the ability level continues to increase.
I know. I just imagine like a red line meter right below the red line all the time, in that world.
It can be really intense. And when you start looking at just even how it's changed in the last, I retired from coaching back in 2019 and, moved more into the business side and the broadcast side of things. But it was crazy then.
Yeah.
And it's even crazier now with all the transfer portals and name, image, and likeness and all that.
So you, even as a coach and of course athletes, there's a level of pressure that comes with that, I'm sure. So I'm sure that you've probably experienced that. I'm sure you've seen that in the students that, either collapse under it or, thrive under it, one or the other.
Sure.
So I'm sure there's a lot of that you've seen in your career. And so that kind of leads me to what you do now. But before I really go into what you do now, kind of give me before coaching, before everything else, what was that life like for you? Just really quick, I know we have I know it's a long time for guys like us to share what that, how long that timeline is. No, you're way younger than me, I'm sure, but you know what I mean? Like, tell me what it was like growing up a little bit and what kind of led you to the whole sports world.
Well, I grew up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I started coaching junior college football down in Texas.
Okay.
At Ranger Junior College, which was great experience. Had some great athletes: Phil Wickwar, Kurt Nichols, Bill Gams. I was around some really good coaches.
Okay.
That I got a chance to learn from.
Okay.
It probably goes back to my parents.
Yeah.
Like, work hard.
Yeah.
Treat people good and work hard.
It's crazy how far that'll get you in life.
Yeah. My high school coach, John Sabatello, was pretty influential just with the standards.
Yeah.
That you set a certain standard and that's where you go to.
Yeah.
And you try to go above it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it led kind of into coaching.
Super
Got into
cool.
coaching, did that. All I ever wanted to do, and God kind of put me I kind of got put in a situation where it was, do I really go for the highest level? And I got offered a job when I was second year, I think, coaching in junior college. I was 23 or so, at a pretty major school. And I talked to one of my coaching mentors at a time that was kind of helping me through things. And he basically called me out and was like, you're a young kid. They're not real concerned about how good you can coach because you can't coach. You're a kid. You're just learning. Yeah. And it was more along the lines of, if you have the integrity that I think you have, you're probably going to turn it down because you're not going there to coach. You're going there to do, not very lawful recruiting
Do some
practices.
business.
And
Yeah.
is the way college football and other
Unofficial
sports are.
business.
Unofficially. And he knew how I was, that
Sure.
I hated to lose.
Yeah.
And
They'll get the best of men.
I wanted a dream, and he goes, I can see you being compromised if you did
Sure.
that. So I remember going back and kind of figuring out, I'm like, God, like, what do you want me to do? This is all I've ever wanted to do. And he kind of led me down the track and field path. I was coaching track at the time, but I'd be the first to admit that I wasn't a track coach at that time.
Yeah.
And I had a lot to learn, and kind of went on and moved on from there. And we probably talked a little bit too long about it, but moved into the track, and then 23 years later, I was blessed beyond belief to experience some of the Olympians I've had and the national champions.
I can't
and
imagine.
Stuff. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it was nuts that in 2024 there was 7 former athletes from my program in Paris, which was pretty special to them.
Sure.
Because they're some amazing young people.
So was there something that was very unique to you that you feel like maybe stuck with the athletes that you had the opportunity to coach? What was something that I'm sure there's a relational component that was important to you, but what are one other thing that maybe stuck out to you now in your leadership that you try to pass on to people?
Well, it's really interesting. And I say really interesting from a standpoint of when you're an assistant coach, the relationship with your athletes is a little different than when you're the head coach.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's a little closer. There's a little more conversation. When you're a head coach at a college level, I mean, you're really a CEO.
Yeah.
You're running the business. You have a
everybody.
small group. You're managing a lot, which I actually didn't like that towards the end.
Mhm.
But it's one thing that I spent so much, and it's probably one of the, if you say what's one change you could have made from coaching from
there you go.
beginning
That's
to
a good
end,
one.
is I was very transactional.
Okay.
For the majority part of my coaching career,
Okay.
as opposed to transformational.
Okay.
A little bit transformational, but it was very much so. You perform.
It was for the transaction.
Yes.
The
You
transformation.
perform, you get it done.
Yeah.
The transformation occurred because of the transaction. and I didn't really realize that towards the end of my career. I got to become a good friend with a gentleman named Todd Gonwer, who wrote a book called Lead for God's Sake.
Okay.
And our athletic director, Craig Littlepage, who is he's retired now, but one of the greatest administrators in all of sports. Yeah. There's no question. And he brought Todd in, and Todd kind of dove in and kind of got to know us more, and we talked about it. So that was kind of a transformation point. But one of the things we had program principles that we kind of based in. We wanted them to be synonymous with everybody. And I've had more athletes than I can recall say they still remember
Really
the principles, and doing to others as you'd have done to you. Yeah. And I'll use the prefix that they're all biblical based.
Sure. Yeah, great.
Doing to others as you'd be done to you. Get better every day in every way. Yeah, which is a simple kind of thought. Sure. It only matters who matters, and we kind of did who we were the Wahoos, but really, it only matters who really matters in life. Don't worry about social media. Don't worry about everything else.
Don't read comments. Yeah.
The people that matter to you are the ones who should matter. And that's who you should be concerned with. And the last one is, be grateful for everything because you're entitled to nothing. And
that's so good, man.
If you can adhere to those 4 principles, man, you're going to be pretty good in everything.
I mean, just roll with that. That's a great human. You know what I mean? That really can accomplish great things out of that principle. You know what I mean?
I know I fall short on those.
Me too. Yeah.
But that's
it's a standard still.
Right?
It's a standard. Yeah. And if we don't ever establish a standard, we're just kind of floating around, and not aspiring towards anything. And so I love that. I love that those were your standards. And I think that's, probably a good reason why you saw a lot of your athletes out in Paris, Yeah. And so that's just really cool. And so I love this because, it seems like your career is one experience after another, seeing how these different pressures can affect athletes and coaches and everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Let's even then you throw now the NIL in the mix, and all these different things that really gum up the works, so to speak, for a lot of young people, coaches, everybody, and so now more than ever, most likely, I believe anyway, that, being able to perform on a high level, your mental focus has to be next level. And not only that, but your ability to manage crisis or people tearing at you, pulling from you on every angle, how to categorize those things becomes imperative. And so
Absolutely.
now I know that you're in that work, and so you're more than a successful D1 track coach. You're more than a successful ESPN analyst, sports analyst, you name it, all these things that you've done, owner of a business, all these you're more than that. You're somebody that saw a gap, I think, in the development of high performing athletes. And so help me understand how you got to the place where you are now, where you're trying to fill that gap.
Well, meeting Dr. Wayne Chappelle, who I know has been on the show.
He's great.
And unbelievable person.
Yeah.
3 years ago, we kind of, making a very long, boring story short, we met and we were having lunch, and he had a vision with his products that he kind of came up with, his assessments and kind of the SciOptimal process of helping really sports. And that was kind of the main focus. And I got brought in to say, hey, you've been around pro sports, college sports. Do you think this is something that could be scalable to a greater number? Yeah. I mean, right now, he's currently the sports psychologist of the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is
kind of a big deal.
Pretty big deal in the city.
I think, yeah.
But so he did that, and we talked about it, and it was, I was sold after maybe 5 minutes.
Sure.
When he just kind of explained it, because him coming from the military side, my younger brother, military, special operations, so I got it really quick. Sure. And I saw the advantages of it. And it's been very interesting to see how we started off straight down the sports path. And it's since then evolved into the church community, the ministry community, businesses, school systems. Yeah. And it's expanded quite rapidly and quite very broad, because you start to find out that it doesn't matter what occupation it is. It doesn't matter what line of work you're in. Everybody struggles. And the only way that you can become the best version of yourself is with others. You can't be the best version of yourself by yourself.
Right.
And the whole goal is to help somebody become the best version of themselves.
Right.
And that's the whole kind of thought process.
And, and I think I'm just a big advocate of this philosophy. Maybe it is, or a principle or whatever, but we have all the knowledge in the world, on how to address our psychological performance or whatever the case may be. It's not necessarily that. It's how you approach that and how you deliver that to the person you're trying to get that into, And so that's what I love about SciOptimal and Dr. Chappelle and yourself as well, is that you've developed this system that really helps people understand.
It's a set of tools, essentially, that can be used by a counselor, by another psychologist, a performance coach. So there's that aspect of it, but then there's also where we go in and assess a company or assess a business, provide them with feedback on how to become better leaders. Yeah. Because it's one thing to gain knowledge of something, but it's another thing to be able to act on that knowledge.
And have a systematic approach to applying it to your day.
There needs to be checks along the way. You do something initially, you see, but everybody wants feedback. You want to be able to find out, like, am I getting better? Am I improving it, or am I going backwards?
Right.
And you have to do those kind of things for growth to happen. And people that don't think that they need that growth, or they need help, it's becoming more and more.
Yeah.
They don't think, hey, I can do this on my own, which we're meant to be a community. Yeah. We're meant to live in community. That's kind of the whole purpose of life, really. Right. From a standpoint of it's community. It's how you interact with others.
Well, it's exciting what you guys do. And so went away from sports, kind of like started seeing this is a need everywhere.
Absolutely.
And so you guys are primarily, where are you primarily located right now?
We're kind of all over.
All over the place? Okay.
Yeah, there's not, I live down in Florida.
Sure.
I've been up to OKC a lot lately.
I know.
And I'm sure I'll be up here a lot more in the next, in the coming weeks.
It's kind of what I was leading to. It sounds like, we might be seeing more of you guys. So I love it, because I think there's, such a potential for, you never know where things lead, but there's cool opportunities for some of what you guys do that could help, I feel like, our students here at the center. And so
Well, I mean,
that could be exciting. Don't want to put anything on record,
No.
obviously, but we're just thinking there's such a good opportunity.
Students are where it's at. It's the next generation. It's the individuals that are going to be leading this country and leading this world. So if you're not trying to impact them, like
what are we doing?
you trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not taking that, that forward approach, and really going, and it's really going to where somebody is, and that's why we've kind of expanded out from just sports,
right,
to realizing that the business is needed, the church is needed. Church is needed as much as anything else, because you're talking about the leadership of somebody that's leading a congregation, that's leading the church, and the individuals that are in that process.
Yeah.
I mean, what a better way to help lead than do that. And I think there's a misconception that a leader is a CEO, is a principal, is an athletic director, is a coach. No. That's not the case.
You have influence, you lead. Yeah.
Moms, dads, teachers.
Yeah.
The person that served your food at whatever restaurant you're in. 100%. You can be a leader in any category, in any shape or form. Right. It's presenting, good principles.
Sure.
And it's presenting, somebody can look up to, and you never know. Yeah. That the whole adage, character is who you are when no one's looking, is so true. I think back, I spent a quick minute as a high school athletic director a couple of years ago, and it's crazy the noise you hear. Yeah. And this goes for any kind of athletic director or any business person, anybody. You could say, somebody could say, hey, your culture's terrible at your business, or this area is bad, and it might be one person, and you don't know that because you just hear the loudest voice. And everything else can be great. Yeah. We see that in society all the time. Yeah. That people scream about X, Y, and Z, and it's not there. It's that person. Yeah. So it gives you that information, and I think that, and I would say, if you don't, we're not using our stuff, but just keep in perspective that there's more to it. Yeah. Than what meets the eye a lot of the time. Sure. Yeah. You've got to actually do a deep dive and understand, what is your culture like? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as a leader, you're blind to it a lot of times. You really are. Because you think, I could think of from personal notes when we were winning. Yeah. You think everything's going great. Yeah. But you could be winning, and you could be right at you could have that Titanic, that big iceberg. If you ever see that, you could barely see the tip, and you're like, oh, everything's great. And you realize that
all this excitement's caused these guys to start drinking too much, and they're getting their part. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's happening on the surface.
You never know.
And then it explodes when you get to that trophy stage, Yeah,
and so so you gotta keep that in mind. Sure. As a leader, as somebody that you gotta have the big picture.
For sure, that makes total sense. Well, I love it. Well, so we've talked about you. What got you in all this work? The work that you guys do here. Through SciOptimal, I love that. But I was going to throw out some questions to you that just kind of will help us understand your perspective on some of the things we've been talking about even further. So, number one, what did you once believe about mental performance that you've now changed your mind on?
I
thought you got to be tough. You just got to be this or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that would. Hey, you're brought up that hey, you've got to be tough. Yeah, you got to suck it up, but you do in a way. Yeah, and kind of the misconception I think with, and I've heard Wayne talk about this a ton. I've heard tons of other psychologists recently talk about it, that it's okay to show emotion. Yeah, it's okay to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. It's okay to realize there's issues. Yeah, that's life. Mm-hmm. And you're not the whole, hey, you just breathe and feel good and think happy thoughts. No, that's not reality. Yeah, think about what are you going to do when bad things happen? Right. How are you going to be prepared when the stuff hits the fan? Sure. What is your reactions going to be like? Yep. That is mental performance. Right. That is taking things to another level, because everybody likes it when it's all rosy outside.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But what happens when you miss that shot? Yeah. What happens when you miss that catch? Yeah. Or you give up the home run, or you fail at a business. Mm-hmm. You the deal you closed, it was terrible.
Yeah, for sure. The donor that didn't approve the grant. What did I do wrong? All these different things. You can lose an edge by beginning to question yourself. And I even think that there is a potential, and I've seen this in myself. That's why I say this, to have kind of a victim mindset kind of creep in a little bit. And it's like,
Absolutely.
sometimes, honestly, we've been designed to where we can be resilient, so,
Sure.
that whole statement, toughen up, actually means, hey, we are resilient. We can actually, push through certain things. Now we have to do it with a healthy path, like, you
Right.
guys provide, but at the same time, yeah, we don't have to be beat down by our circumstance. We can actually leverage it for something really powerful, in my opinion. So,
I mean, failure helps you learn, and
yeah.
it's a true statement. It's not
Oh,
a fun statement.
Yeah, that's a great statement, because this next question is perfect for it. So, where does winning hide the problems within a team?
Well, because people think everything's good.
Yeah.
I mean, they think,
Just to your point that you were
hey,
saying, yeah.
they think everything's
Yeah.
great. The guys are performing well, but I think people fail to realize, or what is success? I think that's probably the first thing you got to look at. What is success? Is winning one time success, or is winning consistently success, or being successful over a period of time?
Yeah.
There's a lot of flash in the pan companies. There's a lot of flash in the pan sports programs or athletes. It's what happens once the pressure gets ramped up.
Yeah.
You win the first championship. You make the first big sale. You
Yeah.
make your first $1 million.
Mhm.
Your church grows. What happens next?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what separates
Sure. Big time.
the good from the great.
I could see, even like, especially with sales leadership, you would have such a great benefit to them, because that is a mental edge you have to have, because sometimes you're making 100 calls in a day and you get one sale. Next day you make
I know
10
what that's
calls
like.
and all 10 calls sell. It's like, you never know, but the
Yeah.
rejection, though, I would assume that you experience in that role as a salesperson, that's, you're depending on your commission for your family. That's a lot of pressure too.
I mean, recruiting. I don't know how many recruits told
Yeah.
me they weren't interested over the years.
Yeah.
And pressure, I think, is a perspective too that
Yeah.
we have to really understand,
Yeah.
because what some perceive as pressure isn't really pressure.
Yeah.
It's, pressure, is, a mother trying to provide for a child with not a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
It's people that are in war,
Mm-hmm.
that are police officers, firefighters that are going into a house. That's pressure. Swinging a baseball bat, it's not so much pressure.
Yeah.
It's entertainment.
Especially when you dip back into your $10 million house. It's
Right. It's perspective.
Yeah,
I mean,
all perspective.
do they
Yeah.
feel pressure? Yes,
Absolutely.
They definitely
Yeah,
do.
sure. Yeah.
But to understand what
Yeah.
pressure is and how to deal with it,
Sure.
how to deal with it appropriately,
Yeah.
is another thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I do not want to minimize that type of pressure for elite athletes.
No,
So
not at all.
for sure.
Like I said,
I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to do that myself personally at all. So but because I can't imagine what that has to be like, you don't know what it's like until you're in that, and you've seen that up close. So you know exactly what it looks like. And so, this whole mindset thing is so important, but what would you say most coaches don't realize most elite athletes are feeling most of the time in their career? Like, so an elite athlete, your everyday average guy that gets into the league, what is he feeling? What's the pressure like?
they are a lot of times worrying about the failure piece.
Okay.
Because it's they're trying to make their move.
Yeah.
Because most athletes
Mhm.
don't come in as the superstar.
Right.
There's very few times that somebody, comes in day one out of high school and they're a Cooper flag,
Yeah.
or something of that nature, where they're great in college,
Yeah.
and then boom, they're great in the pros.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
Right.
It's usually the guys that, and I use baseball as an example because it's a great analogy from the fact that guys will play in college,
Yeah.
then they'll play in AA, and they'll ride the bus, and they're going city to city, and they're not making a whole lot of money, and then they're going to AAA, and then they finally get to the majors, and then there's that pressure to, I got to stay.
Yeah.
I made it. Now I got to stay. And there's all the noise outside you.
Yeah.
Because once you become successful,
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of noise outside telling their opinions.
Yep.
People that weren't really there on your journey,
For sure.
but are there now as a part of it. And social media is one. And a lot of athletes struggle with social media, and a lot of, entertainers just in general struggle with social media because they're reading the noise as opposed to blotting out the noise and saying, "Hey, we're gonna stick to what we're doing."
Yeah.
And then you have all the people that I'll call the hangers on. That they
The
wanna,
barnacles. Huh?
Yeah, they kind of want to be a part of it in some fashion.
Yeah.
But where are they going to be when things don't go good?
Yep. It's so good.
So you have, as an athlete, you have that kind of noise
Yeah.
around you so much. And there's no different from, you see it in any entertainment space or any space that is forward seeing, like, pastors, people that are on social media.
Right.
There's a ton of pastors out there that are very, very much present on social media that get darts and arrows thrown at them all the time because they say something that offends somebody that doesn't go to their church, that doesn't, that heard the snippet on a podcast or something like that, or a sermon. And they're starting to, hey, we need to get rid of this person. They're terrible.
Yeah.
It's the noise. That's
No doubt.
Probably the best word to kind of take off of it is don't listen to the noise, which goes all the way back to say with the principles that we used in Virginia and in some other places, that it only matters who matters. Like, you've got to realize who actually matters in your life, and not worry about the ones that don't. The people that are going to be there, your family, your teammates, if that's saying some of your trusted colleagues, your people that you're around in your church community. And
well, if you were to share something to coaches that are coaching elite athletes that are maybe on their way up right now, they're developing and things like that, what would you say would be, I wouldn't say an appeal, but more of like, hey man, I really hope you consider this. Would you do this and consider implementing this in your plan for your students?
I would, what I said a little bit ago is be transformational and not transactional.
Yeah, that's a good statement. I like to wrap back around with that.
It's such an important part. And if you say, if you could pick one thing out of your entire 23 years of coaching that you didn't do a great job all the time at, was that.
Okay.
And trying to be more transformational, trying to find out more about how they're experiencing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times as a coach, look at the college level, and then pros is not much different. But and even for a high school coach, you don't know what happened 5 minutes ago.
Right.
My wife says it all the time to me, and I laugh. We're driving and living in South Florida. If you've never lived in South Florida before, the speed limit's a suggestion.
Yeah, it's kind of just
it's very much so a suggestion. But somebody comes flying down and cuts you off and goes things, and she's said it for years. She goes, and I start getting a little bit mad. She goes, "You don't know what's going on."
That's right.
They might be heading to the hospital for a birth. Yep. Somebody might have got hurt. They might have somebody in their car that needs to go to the hospital. You have no idea.
It's true.
So that same perspective goes into, you're coming to practice.
Yeah.
Kid has a bad attitude or feels off.
Yeah.
You don't know what just happened.
Right.
Earlier in the day. You don't know what they're going through.
Don't write them off as a punk or whatever,
Absolutely. You don't know the whole situation. And I think that can apply to more than just coaches and athletes. A lot of people in business. The server at the restaurant that is a little rude.
Yeah.
You don't know what their day's been like. What if they just, got out of a relationship or something? It's perspective. And I think coaches and leaders really need to understand perspective.
Yeah.
And to ask questions.
Yeah.
Find out more about whoever you're dealing with, so then you can help lead them better. Mm-hmm. When you look at it, scripture, some of the best leaders out there, they ask a lot of questions.
Yeah. I think listening as a leader is probably the best communication
Absolutely.
characteristic that we should have, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this myself as a leader at times, I'm thinking about the answer because I feel like I already got it for them, you know, while they're giving me this whole breakdown, you know, and that's just not fair. You should listen, you know, because I promise you there's something in there that you're probably missing
Absolutely.
as a leader, you know, and so slowing down listening, that does help a lot. But well, Bryan, I really appreciate you and thank you for making time to come on our podcast. You know, it means a lot to us. We do like to highlight hope around here at Voices of OKC too, you know, so I think it'd be kind of cool for one last thing that you could share with us. Like, what's the most hopeful thing about the future for elite athletes or elite leaders and other types of leaders that are trying to become elite? What's your hope for them currently right now in the space that you're in that you see?
Well, I mean, I would hope that people would see Jesus Christ in everything we do.
Yeah.
That would be the bottom line thing.
Sure.
I mean, that's really why we're doing what we do, to help leaders, you know, not necessarily just see that, but they would see Christ in us and what work we're doing.
Sure.
That's the hope that we have, and I know
Yeah.
Wayne feels the same way.
Yeah.
It's a lot to hope for, but
Yeah.
there's good people out there,
Sure.
and I think people have it in them. They just
Yeah.
have to get it exposed.
Sure.
They just
That's
have to. They have to have an opportunity to see what things are like.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at research, individuals that have faith have so much greater opportunities for success and have so many more opportunities to battle mental health problems and battle issues that might come about from a big standpoint.
It's very true. Well, one more time before you go, what's the best way to get in touch with you guys? What's the website or
SciOptimal.com, PSY Optimal, SciOptimal.com. You can follow us on social media, LinkedIn.
Yep.
I mean, my LinkedIn, Dr. Chappell's LinkedIn is always an easy.
Bryan, thanks again so much. We really appreciate you. Great getting to know you, my friend. And I'm excited that you guys are going to be around here a lot. You know, obviously with Dr. Chappell being a part of the Thunder organization, I know that that's kind of a default deal, but you're going to actually be here more too. So I love that. And good luck on the plans on making all that happen. So
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys so much. And I hope you have safe travels. Guys, thank you again for joining us.